me see. We're gonna fix this. Okay, it says it's connected back. Okay. God, let me get through this. I don't know what is going on. Okay, it says I'm live. Okay, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay, it's okay. Everything is working now. All right, all right. There we go. There we go. Let me pull up things one by one, and we're gonna get it together because I don't know what happened, but the connection was not connecting. Okay, it's doing. Okay, okay, okay. So now I gotta stitch these two things together. Okay, but where we're at right now kind of works out. Cool, 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 cool. All right, go back to game capture. Okay, that works. I see myself. It's not buffering. Let me see. Check now. Things seem to be okay now. We gonna see. I may have had too many things open. That might have been a thing. Um, but it is what it is. You know, things happen. Things happen. But we get through it. I'm ready just to. We're gonna snooze this ad break. We're gonna snooze that ad break. Okay, I think everything is cool. Okay, cool, 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 cool. So again, where are we at on the line? Um, Shout out to Joker Society. Yes, our birthday is December 22nd. You are not older. That's not how that works. Um, yes, putting all our business out there, bro. Go for it. Go for it. Ain't nobody know what that means. But yes, sir. Yes, sir. But where are we at on the line dynamic? I know earlier in the chat, Luna Snow, Luna Snow, One Trick Luna said she's above the line, which is great. Joker to Society expressed that he was somewhere on the line, right? And I, for one, am above the line today. Even with everything that went on last week, with me being sick, the mishaps we're having right now, I don't know what's going on. Things are just. But we're here. We're going to get through it. I don't know why my internet is. Okay, it seems to be working. Okay, okay. I just keep getting notifications that the drops are going, that the bit rate is dropping, but we're gonna power through it. We're gonna power through it. I'm just happy. I'm above the line. I'm operating in a space of being grateful and thankful. Um, Yesterday, I had a Bible study with my church's men's group, and it was really, really great. We did a lot of talking, a lot of vulnerable conversations came about, and learning more about the people that I'm around, right? Especially serving in the church. It was a great eye-opening experience, a bonding experience, a brotherhood experience, right? And I'm really thankful for that. And that kind of like boosted me up. And then on top of that, I think I tell you guys that in the morning times, my church we have prayer call with the men, 6 a.m. So it'll be early. And I was asked to teach the lesson for today. And so, coming from that natural high of having a great Bible study yesterday into this morning, me teaching, and then the reception I got from everybody, the people that were, responding to my questions, being engaged, communicating, talking, it felt really good. I'm very thankful. And since then, I've just been right on a natural high, I'd say. So yeah, I'm above the line. I'm also above the line because there were some things that I was having issues with last week, personal things that are starting to work themselves out, in my favor, right? And so I'm happy about that because I think as people we get worried that how people perceive us isn't how we genuinely are, but we don't have control over that, right? Or very, very little control of how people perceive us. And so, because of that, I was kind of like, okay, I hope things work out for whatever I'm going through. And they definitely did. So, shout out to God for making that possible. But yes, I am very much above the line. So, with that being said, let us dive into the meat and potatoes of what today is. So, first thoughts, word of the week. Let me put in chat. Period. Word of the week is maturity. So, what are the first thoughts you hear? What are your first thoughts when you hear or see the word maturity? I'm going to give you guys a few moments to gather your thoughts, put them in the chat, and then we'll discuss here shortly. All right, we are back. So, what are our first thoughts when we see or hear the word maturity? And the crazy thing is, I always switch the word see and hear. It's see and hear, not hear and see. I have to fix that. But for me, my first thoughts when I see or hear the word maturity, um, I think of like a plant coming up in maturity. I think of, I guess, how we are supposed to be as humans. We're supposed to mature, and I don't think specifically with maturity. I think about age. I think about um, mental capacity. I think about maturity in a way that you have lived experiences that have given you tools to be able to do things differently, right? For example, like as a child, we don't have a lot of tools to our disposal. We don't really know how to talk. We don't know how to things, right? We don't know how to walk or express how we're feeling. And so as babies, we cry, because we know that gets attention. That does something, As we grow older, we learn to talk. We learn to speak. We learn to walk. We learn to communicate differently, right? And because of that, we're able to be direct in what we want or what's going on, but also it's not a lot of guessing work, right? And as we continue to get older and older and older, that's supposed to mature as well, right? So those are some of the things, my first thoughts that I think of when it comes to the word maturity. All right. Let's see. Podcast scene. There we go. All right. So what we do here. Oh, that's what's happening. Hold on. We're going to close a lot of these things out. There we go. And we start that. Okay. Steam was doing a whole bunch of hoopla in the background, which was causing my computer to do a whole bunch of stuff in the background. But yeah, okay, there we go. All right, so first thoughts out of the way. Let us go into the clear-cut definition of what maturity is. So shout outs to Merriam-Webster and them niggas. The definition of maturity, at least two definitions for you guys, is a very advanced or developed form or state. That's one. Two, the state of being mentally and emotionally well developed and therefore responsible, right? So kind of in the same vein of what my first thoughts were, right? So that's good. That's always good that I'm in tandem with the definition of what we're talking about, right? And so, what we do here, we do a thing called the 4 seasons of understanding, right? And so we talk about the word of the week from 4 different vantage points. So, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, right? So we're going to talk about maturity in all 4 of those wavelengths, paths, right? So starting with season 1, just going to get into it, right? Also, I'm sorry, the theme of the month is what you water grows. And last month, the theme was April showers bring May flowers, right? And so we did a lot of showering, did a lot of watering. And now the stuff that we watered is growing, maturing. Look at that. Look at that. You see how everything ties in, y'all? I got a rhyme and a reason for everything. So, yes, that's where we're at. We're maturity. And so what you water grows. So what you water matures. So we're going to talk about maturity in the 4 seasons of understanding, starting with season 1. And that is mentally. So we're going to talk about mentally maturing, mental maturity. Growth that I have experienced mentally throughout my life. And I would just talk about more recently. My mindset, as y'all know, last week I was sick. And so I've been... And I guess when you're sick, you don't really have the best mindset because you're just like, And because of that, last week, I was battling a little bit of depression, a little bit of loneliness, a little bit of woe is me, right? Because me being single, and being sick, I'm the person that takes care of the sick person. Me, I have to take care of me. So there wasn't really anybody to take care of me, which I'm not looking for, but, we're so used to like our parents taking care of us when we're sick, our significant others or whatnot. And so I'm just at a space where I'm like, okay, I'm taking care of myself. I'm licking my own wounds. And I was in my feelings a little bit, I'm not saying that I'm looking to date or anything. Like, no. As y'all do know, I'm still on a journey with God. I am practicing celibacy. I've been over a year of being celibate. And I'm continuing on with that. But a nigga be in his feelings sometimes, A nigga be lonely. A nigga be wanting attention. And because my mindset last week was not in the best, I was not making the most mature decisions. And this one kind of ties into emotional. So we might do a two for one for this one. Because my mindset was not in the best place. I was not mature. I wasn't making the most mature decisions. So I was being in my emotions and being immature and, entertaining people or things or situations that I really shouldn't have. Knowing, that this person, tends to ghost. Things are good for a day or two, a day, and then I'm like, okay, I like the attention, and then the next day it's ghost, and then I'm like, okay, I know that this is how this person works, so why even reach out? Why even put myself into that notion of what you're expecting, right? And it was because I wasn't mature mentally or emotionally in that space, and so I was just going off of my emotions. But, I think the first step is knowing and realizing, hey, I'm doing this because I'm not in the best emotional state. I'm not acting mature how I should because of the lack of, I guess, attention or how me being sick and everything else that was happening last week was affecting me. I was not getting what I felt like I needed from some of my support system. And so I was like, shoot, let me reach out to reliable that I know I'm going to get some type of attention. It may not be long attention, but it was for that moment. Even though I know it was going to come out of it, right? Even though I know it was going to be let down by this person because this is what this person does. I was just not in the best mental state to be able to accept my reality in the in that space and be like, okay, I'm just going through this. I don't need to reach out to this person. I don't need to do this with these people. Let me just be by myself, right? And so, yeah, my mental maturity was not the best. To this week, though, I'm operating differently. I'm moving in a healthier mindset. I am being more honest with myself about some of the needs that I have. And I'm learning, and I'm also knowing that me being busy keeps me from making a lot of immature decisions, a lot of immature choices. Whenever my mind is focused on getting a task done or the next few tasks that I have to get done after the one that I'm currently working on, I don't usually make a lot of bad decisions personally. I'm not going to lie. Me being busy keeps me out of trouble. And so my mental maturity is me realizing that, right? And realizing it is the first step. So with that being said, we're going to move on to season 2, which is the season of physical. So physical maturity. So, just understanding, I am getting older. I am 35, talk to me. And I feel good, and in knowing that, especially with the men's group that I have at church, there's so many different ages. I think our oldest is like 70 something. Our youngest is like 15, right? And so seeing that and knowing that I'm not going to get any younger, I have to be more inclined with what I'm doing with my body, right? So, working out, I'm doing that more regularly. Your boy been in the gym. Your boy been in the gym, y'all. Your boy been in the gym, and I feel good. I just have to be more consistent with it, But I feel good, and I'm putting in the right steps and the right effort to, maintain my body, because like I said, I'm not getting any younger, And then in the same vein, knowing that because I am maturing in age, I should probably do the things that I want to do, right? Some of the things that I don't have a bucket list yet, but I'm working on curating that, because I'm gonna start doing a lot of the stuff that we said we wanted to do when we were younger or had interest with at a younger age. So I'm gonna start leaning more into that stuff, because it's like, why not? Why not now when I don't have kids, I don't have that type of responsibility, so I can come and go as I please. I don't have a relationship, so why not? Why not be curious and explore those things myself? And so I'm gonna lean more into that. I'm gonna lean more into that. Yeah. So physically and looking at maturity in that way, acknowledging I'm getting older, and putting in the right steps to maintain my physicality or increase it to where I want it to be, because I'm getting somewhere. So stay tuned. Also, when it comes to physically, what I'm eating, I'm eating more greens. At least a vegetable or two with every meal. I used to just be rice and meat. I just like to eat rice and meat. But I'm at a place right now where it's like, okay, we gonna have to add some greens, some leafy greens into our diet, because I want to be here, And I keep looking up at the vision boards we did last year, at the end of last year, and that's one of the things: cook more, buy less, And I need to work on that a little more. It's the crazy thing is I'm killing it in the gym, but my eating habits aren't the best. But when my eating habits are good, I don't be killing it in the gym. I just need to get on one accord with everything. And so again, my mental maturity is in alignment, because I know these are the things I have to do for my physical maturity, right? So everything's tying together. Everything is tying together. And so next, we're going to move into season 3, which is emotional. So we're going to talk about maturity from an emotional standpoint. So there was something that happened last week. Like I told y'all, last week was a chock full, was a whole season's worth of content. You know, last week was interesante. Um, and I was dealing with some conflict with a coworker. Um, and we had a meeting with our super, and it was a very interesting meeting. Um, and in that meeting, I would say the thing that stood out the most is the difference in emotional maturity between myself and the coworker I was having a little conflict with, right? Um, I'm great at keeping my cool in public in front of people for the most part. Um, I don't spaz out, but in private, y'all, it's a whole different story, you know, because I was always brought up to, you know, not act out in public. You know, what happens, keep it inside, you know, which isn't always the healthiest thing. I think sometimes I take it to an extreme and I just hibernate with myself. Um, but, you know, I was getting daggers thrown at me. I was getting passive aggressive energy thrown at me. And all this was in a Zoom call, right? And I was like, okay, you know, I'm not on this person's bad side. I'm not trying to usurp this person's position. I just want to be able to communicate effectively, you know, and get our job done. And unbeknownst to me, I guess the person was going through some things that super knew about, that I did not know about. And because my coworker and I don't have that type of relationship, I didn't know. So I don't know. I did not know how best to communicate with them during whatever they're going through, right? So I give grace, you know, and I've been praying for this person because, you know, prior to this, everything was A-okay. So whatever they're going through, you know, I pray that it is rectified immediately. But their energy versus my energy was so different. They were frustrated. They were cutting me off. They were cutting the supervisor off. They were doing a lot of erratic, disrespectful, but erratic behavior or actions that don't align with me. I don't do that. And just seeing how I kept my composure at all the things that were being hurled at me, I was like, you know, I just come with facts. And that really showed me where my emotional maturity is at. Because I could have leaned into my emotions because I was being called or being accused of doing things that aren't true, you know. And like I say, I come with facts. I had all the text messages, I had all the emails. I'm like, this is what's really happening. And I guess because of that, because I was prepared, I didn't have to be emotional. I was just speaking my truth and the truth that of the situation. And like I said, it really opened my mind and my eyes to where I'm at now. Because years ago, I would have met that person where they were at, right? I would have met them exactly where they're at. And then we both would have been looked at as crazy, right? But because I'm in a different headspace and a different mindset, I didn't have to do that. I let them do that on their own, you know, and I had all my facts straight. And ultimately, that situation panned out, you know, to be favorable in my favor. But also, I guess it had to happen because we had to break that wall of communication down for us to get to where we're at now. So it's much better communication, much better clarity on both sides. And so, you know, sometimes the storms may be big, but they, you know, the calm after the storm is greater, right? And so that's the mindset that I have, and that's what I'm hoping we're able to move forward in the coming weeks of us working together, right? So that is what I would say I'm at in emotional maturity, right? So season 3. Last but definitely not least, we're going to move into season 4, which is the season of spirituality. So we're going to talk about maturity in a spiritual sense, right? And for me, I would say it goes back to me being consistent on being on these prayer calls in the morning at 6 a.m. Me being consistent with going to church, even though I didn't go to church last Sunday because I was sick. But every other Sunday prior to that, I've been consistent with going to church. Showing up to Bible studies, you know, and showing up to other things that aren't required of me, but put me in a space where I'm closer to those that are praising God, who keep God and Christ at the forefront of their minds and their hearts. And it's been great, you know. And as I said earlier, me going to all these things has kept me out of so much trouble, y'all. So much trouble. To be honest, if I wasn't in the church or so active in the church, I probably wouldn't be here with y'all. To be honest, I would have been a crash out. After everything that I went through last year, I would have been a crash out, and y'all would not see me here, to be honest. So God saved my life. God spared me. God kept me here because my mental last year was not in the best. I would have either been dead or in jail. I'll just call it what it is, because I would have. And I had every right to crash out. But that's not what God wanted for me. You know, God took a hold of me. He put me in a place in a church where I thought I was just going to be a pew member, but eventually, you know, immediately, God worked with the pastor and the other pastors, the bishops and whatnot, and allowed them to see me for me, or see me for my talents. And ever since then, I have been a part of a family that I needed, right? That saved my life. And so because of that, I learned so much more about the Bible. I read the Bible more than I've ever read it before. I'm asking questions. I'm doing research. I'm trying my best to lead all my interactions with people with God in mind, with how God would interact, how Jesus would interact with these people. And I'm not perfect. You know, nobody's perfect. But I would say I'm doing a pretty good job at adjusting to all the changes that God has provided for me in my life currently, right? I'm seeking Him more than ever. I'm seeking Him for others, right? Having conversations with people close to me, you know, they may be going things like, did you pray? Did you read the Bible? Give it to God, right? Because I know how God has shown up for my life, shown up for me in my life. God has removed so many negative things in my mind, you know, so many negative mindsets. He has cured me from things. He has helped me. You know, my body don't feel as bad as it do. God has really put me in a different mindset, and I'm just so thankful that He's kept me here, right? And so, yeah, that's where I would say my spiritual maturity is at. So, yeah, I'm really thankful that I'm there in that moment. What's up, love, CPS and J? You say, I'm happy today. It is a long time coming. I'm happy to hear that you're happy today. That's great. You know, I'm operating in that same mindset today as well. So that's really good. That is the 4 seasons of understanding. I do have some videos that I want to share. I'm gonna pray that the connection stays stable as it's been for the past 50-something minutes now. But earlier it was not where it needed to be. So I'm gonna pull up these videos, y'all, and I'm gonna hope that the connection is stable enough for us to get what we need from this content, right? So video number 1 is pulled up. Let me swap over to as always, I'm going to put these videos in the chat because y'all know I don't gatekeep, because why would somebody do that, you know? Putting both of these in this chat right now for you guys to view on your own. But yeah, we are now officially at the end of the podcast. We're at our closing wrap-up section of it. So what we do here, the first thing we do in our wrap-up is something we call Know For Sure. And what Know For Sure is something that I know for sure from the beginning of this episode all the way to where we're at now. So I know for sure, in the vein of maturity, well, I'm not the most mature person, who I was last year in the sense of maturity when it comes to physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I have grown. My maturity has increased tenfold from where it was last year, y'all. I was battling demons by myself, you know. But now I'm battling demons with the whole team of churchmen behind me, you know, and my support system as well. So I know for sure that who I was last year and who I am this year, maturity level wise, has grown tenfold. So that is what I know for sure. So now it's the time for me to do my shameless plugging. I am a life coach, and I have a 4-week life coaching experience called Through the Seasons, where I walk with you through whatever season you may be going through. If you feel unseen, emotionally stuck, or in between chapters, I walk with you through whatever it is that you're going through. Prior to this, it was free, but it's a little fee now because it works. It definitely works. So if you want more information about the coaching, feel free to email me at ivsznz@gmail.com or send me a DM here if you want more information. Also, the Discord channel for the Four Seasons community is up. You guys are free to join that. It's free $99. There you can be notified whenever I go live, like now. You'll be notified whenever I start uploading. Whenever I continue to upload stuff to YouTube, which that is in the chat as well. And then for the Discord server, I will be updating it with some coaching things, some things here and there that can help us throughout the week, right? So to be more in the loop, go ahead, join the Discord. It's free. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's free as well. And on the YouTube channel, you catch all of my past Four Seasons with Four Seasons podcast episodes up there. We got some shorts. We got all that content over there for you guys for free. So be sure to go support your boy. But yeah, with that being said, let me do my shout outs. Shout outs at Leoichi. We did a wise dream. Thank you to all the lurkers, the followers, the subscribers, and everybody in between. Y'all have no idea how much I really appreciate y'all for just being present, because y'all didn't have to be here. Y'all don't have to be here. But y'all chose to be here. Y'all chose to support. My goodness, hiccups now. Y'all chose to support. So thank y'all so much for all of that. I will be back here Saturday for my co-working stream. So if you guys are interested in a co-working stream, it's Saturdays at 11 a.m. EST, and it's a place where it promotes accountability, goal completion, and a sense of community, right? So if you got tasks or stuff that you need to get done, be sure to be present for that so we can get stuff done together. I think that's it. I shouted out. Did I do a wise dream? I did a wise dream. I did Luna. Let me do shout out at Joker to Society. Make sure I get my brother in there. Yeah, follow everybody, support everybody, because you know we're here to build community. That's the main thing. So with that being said, again, thank you to the lurkers, the followers, the subs, and everybody in between. Shout out to the Four Seasons community for always showing up and showing out. Yeah, be good to yourselves and be good to others, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.